everybody, it's Drift, also known as MVHD, and today we'll be going over ArmA 3 tutorial on basic mission editing modules and settings here. So first today we're going to be going over groups and waypoints, explainably how to set groups and how to set waypoints for those groups or single units. So first you're going to find or go on the map that you're going to make the mission on, or do whatever you're going to do. So I'll choose Stratus Air Base for now. So first what you're going to do is you're going to find the unit that you want, and since I have multiple mods running, I'm going to be running our 75th Ranger as a first RB member. I'm going to be using our Ranger skins. This is the Massi Devgru, NATO Devgru. There's multiple units that it comes with. As well as the Franian Army and all the other ones you see. Those are different mods. But today we're going to be running multicam. We're just going to go as a basic rifleman. So these settings here are things that you can configure, like the formation. This doesn't really matter if you're in a flying vehicle, if you're an A-10 or a Wipeout or a helicopter. You could choose this so you don't start on the ground. In cargo is more of like when you're grouped to a when you guys group to a vehicle, he spawns inside the car, which we'll go over. We'll go over later about that. But for now, you can either choose information or none. And what this means is that when you have a group, so let's get this guy down. So you want to make sure the control is player. Playable is something else. So we'll also go over that. But vehicle lock, since he's not in a vehicle, you're just going to leave it default. And plus, if you don't want a vehicle to be locked, just leave it default or put it to unlock. But you could just leave it default. The rank, this is whether he's in a group or not. This is sort of like a leadership thing in the group if he is. Info age, you don't really need this. In every mission I always leave that. This is the direction that he's going to be facing. So if we change it 90 degrees east, he's facing to the east. If we change it 270 to the west, he's facing the west. If we change it back up to north, which is 0, he's facing, and you can also change the elevation, but we're not going to use that because we don't need to. So 0 is the default. Skill, this is more for AI. We'll also be going over as well. Health and armor, this is of course this health. If you bring it all the way down, you're probably going to spawn in dead. If you bring it here, you're going to spawn in injured. So you want to keep that up. Fuel, these are all for vehicles. Ammunition is for vehicles and his weapon. Probability of presence, you don't really want to have this down because there's a possible chance you may not spawn. If you have it all the way down, he's not going to spawn. If you have it here, it's probably 70-ish% chance he's going to spawn, and right here is like 50%, so you're going to leave that all the way up. And you want to make sure it's all the way up. Condition of presence, you want to have that true. Placement radius is 0. And all this is for scripts. We'll go over in another time, in another part of the video. And then the name, if you want, you could put some name here. Usually you could use the name for scripts. Description, if you're playing on multiplayer, you could change the description here, and what it'll do is it'll change the name of the unit. So when you slot in, when you join the server, it will show what you put in here. So if you put just Alpha Rifleman, it would show up as Alpha Rifleman in that spot. So once you got this entire area done of what you want and how you want it to be configured, so hit OK. So now, or pilot. So let me just change it real fast. Okay, so once you have it down, if you scroll over it, it'll say Rifleman. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make another unit, which is just up here. And we could just leave this tab for one. If you want, you can make them playable. You cannot make them play. You can only have one player set, or you could leave them non-playable. Now, if you want it to where if you die and you could if you want a team switch, you could also do it with enemies. You could change it to playable. And you can see he has this blue line connected to him. It automatically does that depending on how close you put a unit to another unit. It'll automatically group it for you. So we're going to put this guy over here. Let's see. Okay, so now he's not grouped. So now there should be no line connecting them two. So if you want 2 guys to be in a group or more, you want to go to this icon here. This icon is the group icon. If you open it, and if you double click, you see you have a different interface here. You could choose Op4, Blue4, Independent, and then if you have any other mods, you'll see them. So we're gonna go Blue4. So now we're not gonna be very specific, but we'll just get infantry. We'll have a rifle squad. Rifle squad is a huge, large amount of guys. It's squad size. So now if you do that, it automatically spawns in a huge group of guys for you, already all grouped together, and so on. But we're not going to be using that right now. So once you have all that set, once you have these two guys set that you want, you're going to drag anyone, it doesn't matter. You're going to drag him and put him onto there. So now you'll see that there's a blue line now connecting them to. Now now you want to choose who's going to be the leader, and the leader goes by rank. So since you're the playable person, if you want to be the squad leader or team leader, you're going to double click on him, and then you're going to go to rank. So now a private is obviously the lowest, colonel is obviously the highest, so we're going to put him as a captain. Then we'll put this guy as a sergeant. So now that we did that, since this guy, our player here, is a higher rank than this guy, he's going to be the squad leader, so he is going to be under his command. So we'll change this guy so it's a lot more. So we'll make this guy a medic. So now the medic is under command of the rifleman. So now in this case, that's a group there. So to get waypoints for AI now, we'll go in game and we'll test all this out. So now for the waypoints, this is fairly simple. You want to place down a unit just like you did. So we'll just keep down, we'll just keep this. So we're going to make this guy a rifleman. And they're doing this, okay, so if this happens, if you're too close, just ungroup it. Just drag the guy that you don't want grouped to it. Just grab whichever guy you don't want grouped to this squad. Just click on that guy, drag, you'll see a gray line, and just do it anywhere. Just don't do it on this guy or this guy. Just do that and the line is gone. So what you're going to do now is, if you want, you create another guy. So let's say I want an exact replica of this guy. If you don't want to keep on having to double click, and then open up the interface, just highlight him. See how he's kind of faded here. You're going to click on him. Once he does that, he'll be a darker color, a darker blue. You're going to hit Control C, and then somewhere around him, you're going to hit Control V. And what that does is it completely duplicates the same exact guy. So now he should have the same aspects. He's a sergeant, and he's a sergeant, and they're both non-playable. So the way it works is, if you make a guy playable and you try to copy and paste him, it's not going to make him playable. So you have to do all the playable stuff manually. So we're going to make these guys a group. And we're going to make this guy the leader. So just changing his rank up higher than a sergeant, which is lieutenant. So now what you want to do is, once you have that, you're going to click on the feet over here, which means waypoints. So you want to make sure you're highlighting the group that you want. So you don't have to highlight the whole group. You can even click on the guy that's not the leader, and you can click anywhere. It doesn't matter how you specify or who you click on. So if you want, you could just click and drag over the squad that you want. Double click when you have the waypoint selection open. You'll see insert waypoint here. What you're going to do now is you're going to go to category, you go to advanced, or you can just go to default. Now advanced is a little bit more different, but we're going to keep basic here. We're going to use default, and default has a lot more options that you get more specific with. Advanced is land and fire mission, so we're not going to use that. We're just going to go to default. So we're going to make a simple waypoint here. So select waypoint, we're going to make it a move. Waypoint order, if you have multiple waypoints, you could have one waypoint become for the other if you mess up order of march or waypoint order. So you could always just change it here. Placement radius is, if you change it to 10, you can now see there's a dotted circle around it, which means that he's not just going to go straight to his waypoint. He's probably going to end up here, he's probably going to end up here, or maybe even here. So he's probably going to end up going this path instead of straight. He might just go here. So if I change that to something like 50, you can see that there's a bigger radius. So if I move it over here, he might end up going over here. or he might be going up and over here, or even right here. He's not just going to go straight to the waypoint. So we're going to leave that at 0 if you want it to be accurate, or you could put it to 1. 1 is as accurate as you'll get. Of course you could use decimals, but that's not needed. So completion radius, which means if I put this back to 50, then this is completely different. You'll see there's a solid line around it now. So what this means that if he gets in here, he's just that waypoint's completed. So usually if I put this to 0, it's invalid. It's not gonna, there really is no completion radius. So if you put it here and we change this to 10, so even if he gets inside the circle, if he stops here, that's when his waypoint is over. So if we change this to 0 and we change this, so if we change this, change this one to 30 and that one to 50. So if he gets in here, his completion he may not even go inside this circle here. He's probably just going to walk in, end it, and then go to his next waypoint if you have multiple waypoints. So I don't really use this. I keep it at 0 because there's really no point of having it. The height doesn't matter. You could use this if you want to go in buildings or something. You could get the exact building height if you want to. The timeout, this is like his delay. If you want him to hold, if you want him to sit there for a bit, you could change these around, but I don't use these. You could get more advanced with these, but I choose not to. The name of the waypoint and the description of the waypoint you don't have to have unless you're using a script, which I don't really use, so you don't have to worry about the name of the description at all. The combat mode is probably one of the most important things here. Combat mode, you want to change it to something. So if you want him to be on a patrol, like if you want the squad to be on a patrol, you're going to probably put hold fire. Do not put never fire, because even if you have other waypoints with open fire engage at will, he may not be able to fire because you had this on the first waypoint. So I always put hold fire, and it keeps them alert. You can either put hold fire engage at will, which they're more alert, but I like to keep hold fire. Formation, this is getting a little bit more in detail about how you want the patrol or how you want their movement to be. A column, which is mean like an elementary school line, front to back, front to back, and then staggered column is like a zigzag column, of course. So it's more for going down roads and so on. A wedge is like an arrowhead. Echelon is like a slanted left line. Echelon right is completely opposite of echelon left. A V is a backwards arrowhead, completely opposite of the wedge. Line formation is just a straight across line moving forward. A diamond, of course, that's self-explanatory. And a file is pretty much the same thing as a column but closer. So we're going to go these guys in a file. We're going to choose them as a file. So in the speed, limited is a walk pace, normal is a jog pace, and full is a sprint pace. So if you want them to be on a patrol, you could use normal as well if you want to be on a patrol. You just have to change their behavior. Their behavior for them as a behavior to be like a patrol state, you're going to put safe. But to ensure that their patrol is walking pace, you always want to change this to limited. Condition, you're just going to leave this true. This is more for scripts, and this is obviously a script thing too. You want to keep this if you want to change it to anything. Show in cadet mode or always show. I just keep it never show. That's pretty much this part. Now you could get more advanced with effects. In effects, you could get more advanced in sound, voice, environment, trigger, track, type, and effect. But we're not going to be We're not going to be getting into this just yet. So you could obviously do a lot of things, and you can see a lot of things aren't finished yet. But it's good. I don't really use these anyways. Continuing on. So once you're done with all your waypoint stuff here in your configuration, you're just going to hit OK, and that's your first waypoint. Now you could set a second waypoint, and if you set a second waypoint, you don't have to do all this stuff. You could if you want to change your action, but you could keep it no change, no change, no change, and no change. What this means is that they're going to pretty much take the aspects of this, hold fire, save, file, and limited, all the way to this waypoint here. Now sometimes it may bug out and they may jog over, but they'll probably still keep their safe aspect, their file, and and their hold fire aspect, but they may not keep the limit. They might go to normal speed, they might go to sprint speed, depending on what they are or what their situation is. So we're gonna make this one back here, and let's say we want this one to be let's see. So there's all these waypoints you could choose. We'll just leave this one as a move. So once you got that, you're gonna create, if you want the AI or a patrol to cycle between in a circle without placing 50 waypoints going in a circle, what you could do is click this waypoint here, or just click the group, double click it next to the group, go to select type, and find cycle. Find the cycle right there. So find cycle, and then if you want, you could change it before or after. I like to keep it as the last waypoint. This one, you could keep it no change, no change, no change. Or and you could also add effects if you wanted to, but you don't have to. So you could change the placement radius, you could choose the completion radius, it doesn't matter. So once you're done with this, you can hit OK. So now you could see that it's a complete line just going in circles. So if I move this over here, it's still connecting to this guy, which means this group of guys will go to this waypoint. They'll then move to this waypoint, then to this waypoint, then back to where they started, and they just continue cycling that path. Now if you move this a certain distance away, it will disappear because the cycle's too far, but if you bring it just close enough, it will come back again. Now if I bring this over here and I bring this over here, you can see that now it's connected. It depends on the length from this waypoint to this waypoint. So if I bring this back down, there, it disappears. So you have to have it in a special placement for it in order for it to have its complete cycle. Usually it's dependent on this length here. As you can see, they're about even, but if this length is shorter than this length, it will not work. So you can see, I kind of messed that up. I meant I said these 2 points, but it's actually these 2 points from the cycle waypoint to the move waypoint, or whatever you have. So kind of looking at that, you can see that's just kind of disappearing no matter how long. So the longer that this is, the longer you can actually have this extended. So we're going to keep it basic for now. So we're going to have them move here. So we're going to make it go, we're going to make them go normal, and we'll just have them go around for that. So this is just basic waypoints here. Now of course you get more advanced into this stuff, which will get more advanced in with triggers. So once you have this, you're probably going to want to save it just so that you can have it. So I'm going to name this tutorial. So you want to keep it basic for this first start. At least we are. You can get more advanced with this stuff once you get the hang of it, but it's pretty basic for now. So once you got all your stuff set up and all your units set up, what you also almost forgot. So the none thing, the formation, or the special. For the special, information means wherever you have this guy, even if you put him all the way on the other side of the map, he's still going to end up here, somewhere around you. So if you have this as information, he's always going to spawn right next to you, no matter how far away he is. No matter if he's down here, over here, over here, it doesn't matter. Wherever he is, he's going to spawn next to you. So if you want a group of your guys over here on this hill here, and you want him to stay there, you're going to have to double click on him, go to special, and change it to none. What none does, if he's spawning over here, he will not spawn over here. You also may want to change yours. I like to change all of them to none, which you don't have to change the leader to none. All you gotta do is change the guys that you want out of formation. So we're gonna have the medic at none, but what we're gonna do to display this is we're gonna have this guy up here in the middle of the airfield. And once we do that, we're gonna start. We're gonna make sure our waypoints are set. Make sure our guys are good. And we're going to try it. So I put this to none. As you can see, none and none. So they will not spawn in formation. So this will not spawn in formation at all. So now what we're going to do is we are going to preview it. And since I'm running mods, it's probably going to load a lot slower than what usually would. As you can see at the bottom right hand corner, I'm running Alive, which is pretty much like a basic MSO. But it's probably going to load up a little bit slow here as it's loading all the mods. Alright. So now, as you can see, my guy is walking over here as he spawned over there. As you can see, these guys are in a kind of back and forth pace here. They're kind of going. Here, I'm gonna stop this guy here.
Stop.
Copy.
So if you look, these guys are following their waypoints. They're going kind of in between jogging and walking. And I think that's mainly because I put them on safe, and I put their speed on normal, so they're kind of in between. So if you want them to be a 100% walking pace, you have to make sure that you set their speed to limited, and then of course their behavior to safe for them to do that. If you put their behavior on aware, they're gonna have their weapons up and they're gonna be in a walking pace, which you don't want because it's unrealistic in a patrol. So you can see they're cycling between their waypoints now. As you can see, they're going. That's where their starting point was. It was somewhere around there. And soon they're about to turn around. And you can even hear them talking. So there they go. They're going back to the first waypoint. Once they hit the first waypoint, they're going to go to second and third, which they already did. And now they're back at their starting point, which are now going back to the first waypoint where they started. So that's that. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you when you put this guy in formation. You put him in formation, like I said, if you put him all the way over here, we'll put him all the way up there. You see there's nobody near me. We'll go to preview. And as you can see, he's right next to me still. That's what information does, is even if I put him on the other side of the map, he's still going to spawn right next to me. You see, it's a combat medic. So, if we go into Zeus here, you can see, if I click on these guys here, if I just find them, I don't think it'll let me click on them, but usually you'd be able to see their waypoints where they're walking. And you see now, they're in a walking pace. So they tend to bug out sometimes and kind of jog and walk. So going back to editor, that's pretty much it for this tutorial here. Just basic waypoint usage and group usage, and pretty much learning how to use all this stuff here and the basics of this. So once we go in more detail about this stuff, once we start going over tutorials about the triggers, syncing, waypoint or map waypoints, and modules, we'll start getting into more advanced stuff with triggers and synchronizing and synchronized explosions and so on and so forth. The next tutorial will probably have the in-cargo. We'll probably go over the in-cargo and as well as flying in the next tutorial. So other than that, that's pretty much concludes this video here. Stay tuned if you wanted to look into more video or mission editing, excuse me. I'll be posting some more on here. Like I said, triggers, synchronizing, map waypoints modules, and of course the in-cargo stuff. Just stay tuned, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a video, and I'll see you in the near future.